And now it's time to sip the coffee and spill the tea on Talking with 3D Live. Here's your host, Derrick Dixon.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Talking with 3D Live. I'm your host, Derrick Dixon, and this is where we always sip the coffee and spill the tea. Listen, before we even get started, do me a big favor. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you click it, love it, share it, do all those things, and make sure you tell a friend about it. We're here every Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We have some great shows, and you don't want to miss them. But today, it's about Mr. Reese. He don't want me to call him that. He just wants me to call him Reese. Yes, Maurice Hawkins, and everybody knows him as Reese. So he is here today. I've been bugging him like crazy to come on Talking with 3D, and I'm excited to have him here. So Reese, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, sir.
I'm just really excited. You know, we've had this connection now. You know, we do a lot of work together. We run around Bedford Elementary and chase kids all day long and stuff like that. So, but I wanted to have you on because I think it's important that people see a positive Black male figure, especially that's working in the school system, you know, because we don't see a lot of that, even though whatever you may have been through, how we can overcome that. And I think that we need to, you know, put a light on that because a lot of us, you know, Black and brown people, we want to stay stagnant and we want to stay in one place. So I want to tell people, my listeners and viewers, a little bit about you. Born and raised right here in Baltimore, Maryland, which was very challenging for you, but you found the love for poetry, music, and giving back, you know, to change a lot of things that you've gone through in your life. Since the age of 9, you knew that you were destined for fame. You knew that you was going to do something at the age of 9. And your main focus has becoming mentoring, which again is very important of what's going on in life and a step in your life, very important. So also you've starred in movies, music, and sung with some local artists, which I didn't know this about you. You know, me being a writer and director and doing short films and doing stage plays and everything, now I'm like, okay, now I got to get him in stage play and stuff because I didn't know the brother did movies and sung it with local artists. So Maurice, just tell everybody just a little bit more about who you are.
I'm that guy that believes when you wake up, it's a new day, no matter what happened yesterday. So I'm that guy that, you know, I always try to get a positive outlook. Like you mentioned, growing up was rough. I lost my mom at an early age. Didn't know my dad at the time. I think I met my dad when I was probably like 16, 17. So a lot of it was me making my own decisions. I was getting raised by my grandparents, you know, but they're your grandparents.
Right.
As you get older, they really can't keep a cap on you. You know, they try their best. So I appreciate what they did. But, you know, you start making your own decisions, going your own ways. You start seeing other people. You're like, hey, I want what they got. So, you know, I ain't going to say I added on to the roughness, but I added on to the roughness. And then I started to look up to Tupac real heavy. So when I started listening to Tupac, and I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. So I started to gear towards the music and the poetry. But yeah, I'm just that guy that believes, you know, going forward, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Let's go back to the earlier childhood ages. You grew up in a large family?
Yeah, it was big.
How many?
My family's so huge. I swear we run Baltimore. But inside my house alone, though, everybody was getting raised in this house. I think, just to give you a picture, we had bunk beds, and there was 6 of us in a bunk bed. So we had 3 at the bottom and 3 at the top. And we also shared a room with my great-great-grandmother. She slept in that room as well. It probably was like 10 of us. And when my uncle came in and out of jail, he was sleeping in the next room. And my cousin was in the living room. People thought my house was a group home.
Wow.
It was so many people in the house. So, but yeah. So
I heard you tell. We do mentoring together at Bedford Elementary. Shout out to Bedford. And I heard you talking to one of the students, and you had asked a question.
Yeah.
And your question is to close your eyes and open your eyes and tell us what you saw. And one of the students said he saw himself. There's a difference between I see myself playing football, but he said he saw himself on the football field.
Yeah.
And it was very emotional for you.
Yeah, I almost cried. Just because I felt it and I believed him, and I saw it. So when he said it, I saw it as well. And when I'm like, so you got football saved my life. Like playing sports saved my life. So I take football with a whole nother passion. So when he said that and I saw it and I felt it, I believed him 100%. And it hurt me because you got that inside you. Everybody, I believe everybody's born with a dream. So you got that inside you and you don't want to give birth to it. You'll rather do X, Y, Z instead of doing what you're supposed to. And I feel like it's because we got this false narrative that the cool kid is the bad guy.
Today's episode of Talking with 3D Live is brought to you by iRose Films. iRose Films photo booth will capture every special event, from birthday parties, weddings, baby showers. They also specialize in 360 booths, also videography. So please make sure that anytime that you have a special event, contact iRose Films, irosefilms.com.
The cool kid ain't the bad guy. The bad guy don't even want to be bad.
Yeah, right.
So they don't. So it's like, it touched me because I really feel like that particular student got the potential to do exactly what he said he saw. So
yeah. You say everyone grows up, or everyone is born and grows up having a dream. That we all have dreams, we all have aspirations, we all have people that have inspired us. And Tupac was a person for you. Why do you think that, and I'm going to tell you why I think so, but why do you think that a lot of our kids have lost the ability to think about the dream?
I would have to say technology.
Yeah.
Technology screwed the world. It handicapped our kids. They don't go outside no more. When I was their age, you couldn't tell me if I jumped off that couch right there, I wouldn't fly 2 feet in the air if I just tried hard enough.
Yeah.
We stripped away the innocence. So we stripped away, it's okay to dream. Everything is realistic. So the fact that we stripped that away from these kids is like, that we robbed them. And I'm talking about the adults, the parents, the people that was there before they even got here. So we robbed them of their innocence in the sense where, it's okay to dream. Dreaming ain't cool no more.
Yeah, right.
So, we stripped them. So.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, and you may have done this, but remember you would go to sleep and try to dream that you could fly.
Yeah,
yeah. That was like, I'm going to fly and I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to see myself flying, because people would always say you can't see yourself flying. But I believed, knowing that I'm not going to go outside and fly. But why I'm saying this and why I think it's so important is that I had enough in me to dream and believe I could do it. So by me doing that, and when I finally saw myself flying in that dream, then I knew, I can accomplish so many things that I put my mind to it. We have a lot of kids that don't put their selves in that position where they can believe in themselves.
Yeah. Everything too realistic now. So everything is real. That's just not realistic.
Right.
Everything too realistic. Anytime a kid tell me they want to be something, let's use my kid for example. You can do whatever you want. If he want to believe Santa Claus is real,
right?
He real.
Yeah.
You don't want to strip. You don't want to strip the imagination away from them, because that's what's going to help them get to where they want to be. So
you were real passionate about mentoring.
Yeah.
And I see it in you and I wait for you actually to walk into the room because I want to see how the kids are going to react. I think we have probably about 8 mentors, or probably about 6 mentors, and we all have our own style.
Yeah.
All have our own way of giving out information and everything. Your style is more so like, I need your attention. I need you to be focused. I need you to hear what I'm going to say. Where did that come from?
I think, honestly, it came from the drug dealers from when I was younger. And, you know, I took heed to them. I didn't have no father figure. So they was the guys that told me, you know, stay in school. If you good at that, go do that. Let me see your report card. They was the guys that took the initiative to make sure that I was always on the right track. Even when things got, you know, in certain situations, and I felt like they knew the outcome of it. They knew I was one day going to dip and dab in that life. But they taught me, they legitly taught me the ropes of being responsible and being prepared and making sure you take care of the people that's around you. You take care of your community gonna take care of you. And that's what they was teaching me. So even at a young age, even when I was a student at Bedford, at a young age, people looked up to me, and like I got in the middle school, the elementary school kids showing me their report cards, and at that time I was doing what I was doing. I'm buying them ice cream. I just always been that guy. It just always been in me to lead. My neighbors used to say, "You're a natural born leader." So it's just always been that in me to, you know, just to see what I can do. You know, a lot of people like, Reese think he can save everybody. And that's a gift and a curse, because I do believe I can save everybody.
Yeah.
So it's just something that was instilled in me. You know, like I said, everybody is born with a gift, a talent, some sort of drive. And I felt like I was born, that was one of my gifts and talents I was born with, just to be able to like, hey, this is what it is. Because half the time I don't know what I'm going to say until I open my mouth.
Yeah.
So half the time, so it's like, hey, don't miss it. So.
Yeah, don't miss it. Reese, when you wake up sometimes, what are some of your fears?
I don't think I have any fears no more, but I can tell you my fears when back in the day. My biggest fear was failure. And I woke up one day, I was like, that's crazy. I just had, I don't know if it was a dream, I can't remember how it hit me, but I had to stop fearing the fact that I could fail, because failure is a part of the process. You can't be successful if you don't fail. Every successful person has failed multiple times, has been kicked down multiple times. It ain't about the failures. The failures become lessons. It's about how many times you get up. So that was my biggest fear, failure. Other than that, I don't think I fear anything. I wake up, I'm ready to go. I try to worry less, stay positive, and I just move.
Yeah.
I legitly just move. Fear is my friend. I don't really run from him no more.
I like that. Fear is my friend. Yeah.
I don't really run from him no more. So you know, I just stay focused.
Yeah.
And I try to stay positive. Even like the people that's around me, I be like, yo, don't worry about that. Be good always.
Yeah.
So
you talked in the mentor program that we have, and you talked to some of the kids about how you had to wear the same coat over and over. You weren't allowed to go outside and play like the other kids. So, you know, growing up now, what do you think you learned from that? What was the purpose? What was the meaning you got from that?
To this day, I can't necessarily speak for them. They was real old school. I'm talking about my grandparents was old. They my great-grandparents. So they old school. Beat you with a switch, old school. Like,
Okay.
old school. So like they was one of them like, hey, them clothes not dirty. You gonna wear that again tomorrow.
You gonna wear that again.
I'm gonna wear that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm watching all my other friends go to school with different clothes every day. And mind you, I never was I don't think I stunk. I never was a kid. I never was a kid.
It was the other kid. It wasn't me.
I don't think I stunk, because we did shower, but it was like, you know, I had to make sure when we go to recess that I didn't stain my clothes. I had to make sure I wasn't playing in wood chips with, you know, where you get black and brown. Had to make sure I wasn't doing certain stuff, because I knew.
Because you knew you was gonna wear it the next day.
Wear it the next day. And not being able to go outside, I think like I said, they old school. If you don't go outside, you don't get in trouble.
Okay.
So if you don't go outside, you don't get in trouble. You know, the police ain't gotta come knocking on my door.
Right.
So I stared at 4 white walls for a long time. They bought us video games, but when the video game, we wanted to go outside. Everybody else going outside. You got the kids around the neighborhood knocking on the door. Can they come outside? They saying no. Then we getting in trouble for them knocking on the door. They was that old school.
Right.
So we even had to actually go in our own backyard. I have no idea why, but like I said, I get me being a parent now. I guess if you don't go outside, you don't get in trouble. But when they finally start loosening up, I think I was in probably like the 6th grade or something. They finally start loosening up, and it probably was the 5th, and I snuck across Milford Mill Road, and that's when I met a football coach, and I had some friends who was in foster care, and we would go. All the foster kids would go to this one place, and it'd be like a summer camping trip, and like we all would be there. So like he was playing on the football team. I'm like, yo, actually, coach, can I get a run? They're like, let's try it, let's do it. I ran the ball one time. They was like, it's on. They like, yeah, can you do that again? I said, yeah. Never played like organized football, and he was like, I'm gonna take you home. I said, oh Lord, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Right. Yeah.
I said,
this
no,
is what my grandma was telling me about now.
Listen, I don't need you to take me home. Please don't take me home. I begged him, but he took me home, and she wasn't mad. He talked to her, and that's how I got started with football. But me being outside, I don't know. I honestly don't know the reason why they kept us in the house the way they kept us in the house.
I was research, just doing some information. This is what I found, that growing up hard in Baltimore City refers to experiencing significant challenges and hardships while living in Baltimore, often associated with high levels of poverty, crime, drug use, and limited opportunities, particularly in certain inner city neighborhoods, which can lead to difficult upbringing marked by struggles with safety, education, and basic necessities. So, hearing what you're saying, your grandparents, your great-grandparents had that mindset, like you were saying, if I don't go outside, if I don't do this, then they don't have to fit into this norm.
Yeah.
We can keep them, even though we considered sheltered, but we can keep them from what's going on outside the four walls.
And I can't say that they kept me from it.
Yeah.
And I still found my way to it.
Yeah.
So I still found my way to it, because you got to think, they got cars, they got license, they got the girls, they got everything that I wanted that I wasn't getting. They dressing nice.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the same clothes. I was tired of it. I was tired. I was tired. So I think 5th grade, I started coming to school. 5th grade was when that really switched in. That's when the baggy clothes was real. I would come with fresh white T-shirts, new shoes. They didn't know I was coming. I was changing my clothes in the bathroom.
Okay.
So I was changing my clothes in the bathroom at school. I had just started selling drugs. I had just started.
And you were in what grade?
5th.
5th grade.
I was 10 years old. They didn't
At
keep me
10 years old.
Yeah.
And how did you learn that, Reese?
They, like I said, around in the neighborhood, the guys was already doing it. They was in gangs. They was in everything. They was already doing it. So like I said, and that's who I hung out with. Because they was outside when we was walking to school. They was giving us money. They was I remember the corner like it was yesterday. They giving us money. They making sure we good. Ain't don't nobody mess with them. They with me. So they was making sure we was good. And then my aunt got locked up in the 5th grade. When I was in the 5th grade, my aunt got locked up. And when she got locked up, she made a phone call to one of them. And that's pretty much, that's how I started hitting packs. That's how I started selling drugs. When she made the phone call, she like, make sure they good, do whatever they need to be done. And that's what happened, because she was, even though we was living with my grandmother, like she was the one making sure we had new shoes. Like I said, I love my grandparents to death, but the only time we got something new was when the social worker would come. So like when the social worker showed up, we look like we good.
Right.
No more jeans that got turned into shorts.
Yeah.
No more the ripped pants. What you seen on TV, what you seen in a Madea movie was us. No more just wearing hand-me-downs, and
Right.
she had the clothes on tucks. The social worker on the way, we looked like we was good. We wanted to scream and shout like save us.
Right. we wait for her to come. Social worker coming today.
Yeah. So
wow.
She made sure it was good. But my aunt was the one that made sure that y'all ain't gotta wear the same clothes, huh? Here goes some new clothes. And my aunt went shopping. She made sure we was good. I ain't gotta do X, Y, Z. So when she got locked up, all that stopped. And that's when I started. So it stopped for her, but that's when I started. So I would make sure my brother had money, my older sister had money, and that's what happened. So, and it grew rapidly. Like me selling drugs grew rapidly. I connected towards like in the middle school, me and my long best friend, rest his soul, his name was Silas. Me and him started selling drugs together. We was like pen and paper.
Yeah.
We Kool-Aid and sugar. We was this. So
when did that stop for you? When did you say enough is enough?
High school. I think I want to say 12th grade. I wanted to go to college. I said, bro, I gotta go to the NFL. I don't want to get in no more trouble. So high school, 12th grade, and all my friends, and I still even my freshman year in college, I was slowing down 12th grade, but even like my freshman year in college, and my manager, he my manager now, he'll tell you, like, I remember Maurice in college going to hit sales while we're in class, like,
right.
So like my freshman, like senior to freshman year, I started to slow down. My senior year in high school, I was like, bro, I want to go to college. I want to play ball. And you can't do both.
Right.
You can't do both. You can't be in the street. You can't. It's impossible to have one foot in and one foot out.
Right.
And that's anything. You can't be a drug dealer and a working man. You can't be an athlete and a street guy. It's impossible. You can't juggle the two. We're not juggling. We can't do it.
It don't.
You gotta have it all in or not. Because what happens is when you one foot in and one foot out, situations like my best friend, those situations happen. When you one foot in and one foot out, going to jail happens. And then like, I never been locked up for selling drugs, but what really stopped me was me getting locked up. I got into a fight, being angry, got into a fight. I got arrested and I lost my football scholarship. And that's when everything was like, I was like, nah, I can't do this. I was sitting in the cell, and I cannot make this up. I feel like God makes me the way I am for a reason. And I seen like I'm looking up at this. It was a fan in the corner. I'm sitting in the cell, there was a fan in the corner, and the fan was spinning. And as the fan was spinning, I seen like pictures of myself playing football, video clip, like it's just playing and it's going through the fan, and it's just strutting. And I made a song. I said, watching my dreams shatter as it all falls down. I was literally watching my dreams shatter through the fan. And I was like, that was my end. I was like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do it. So I was like, that's what really pushed me and made me lean towards mentoring even harder. So I couldn't do it no more. I didn't want to be in the streets, and I still walk around. I know people come up to me left and right, and they gonna tell you a different story about me. Some may be good, some may be crazy, but they all gonna say, man, I love this boy. So yeah. I know so many people do the path that I did take, but I had to take that path to become who I am. So
yeah. So you've dabbed into music, movies, and so how did you get into the acting realm?
So I do music. I just dropped the EP too. It's called Young, Black, and Gifted. But I do music. Like I said, I started dipping in music and poetry in elementary school. As I was walking to school, I would freestyle to myself. I really wasn't good at rapping yet. But I was good at poetry, and I would write poetry, and I would perform. And I started performing in middle school, but I never stopped like rapping. I never stopped rapping. I would rap to myself every day to the point where I got really good. And then I met this guy, I think my 9th grade year. His name was Keeson. We called him $1 Million Key. And he was like, bro, I'm gonna write movies one day. He just always said, I'm gonna write movies one day. I'm gonna write movies one day. So he started dipping into acting. Fast forward, he started dipping into acting, he runs into Boosie, being an extra in Boosie's movie.
Okay.
So he runs into Boosie, and him and Boosie hit it off real good. He like, Reese, when I make it, you gonna make it, I promise.
Yeah.
So he wrote a movie, his first movie he wrote. And we was supposed to shoot it in Baltimore. That's my man. That's my guy. So he like, Reese, we can ready to shoot a movie. Come on, let's do it. So I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I said, he gives me the main role because he's my guy. We shoot the pilot of the movie. He showed it to Boosie, and Boosie buys the movie from him. So now we got a movie on Tubi. It should be on Netflix in a couple months. And it got over 25 million views.
Okay. And what's the title to the movie?
No Honor, Loyalty, or Love. And I'm the main character.
No honor,
loyalty,
or
love.
Yeah.
And that's that's how I got into it. And like, I enjoy it.
Right. Yeah.
I enjoy it. And everybody say, oh, you so good at it. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into acting.
Okay. Do you see yourself more? Do you want to do more?
I just came back from Atlanta. 2 days I was gone, actually. I just came back from Atlanta Tuesday, Wednesday, doing another audition for a movie.
Okay.
So that's what I did. I want to do a lot of more movies. Short film. I heard you mention short films, skits. I want to do it all.
Okay.
So,
what's your genre?
Anything.
And
listen, work. That's my middle name. Let's do it. Anything.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of times that people, especially nowadays, they're so fearful of their image. You know, what are people going to think of me if I act like I'm a drug addict, if I act like I'm the lawyer, if I act like I'm a cop? So they perceive my image instead of being the actor.
Yeah, you gotta be the actor. You gotta build the resume. You know, even with this one, I had a Keyshawn, he's writing this one too. I'm like, give me the main role. Give me the main role. I killed the audition, give me the main role. And he was like, bro, you're too confident in yourself.
Okay.
The main character isn't confident. I said, that's why I'm an actor.
Right.
give me the role. I can be the timid guy. Give me the role. So, you just gotta be willing.
Yeah, be willing. So where do you want to grow your mentoring? Do you want to build it as a program? Where do you see with the mentoring?
I definitely want to start my own program. I want to build it as a program. It's just like the way I look at it, especially with us at the school, that's like a church starting in the basement of a school. So, you know, some churches start small, then they grow big.
Yeah.
You know, we can do the same thing we're doing under our own situation, under our own control. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of upset that they was like, hey, this group of boys, we done with them. You know what I'm saying?
And there's just so much more work to do with them.
But if you got control.
And Reese, I look at them, and because, like you say, they come from so many different backgrounds.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of their upbringing we can relate to, some of them we can't relate to. You know, you and I, we come from two different backgrounds, but we can bring those resources together to be able to help these children. They need, you know, 2 months, 3 months, a lot of times, you know, a couple, 8 weeks.
Not enough.
It's just not enough because of these kids nowadays, they need so much more.
They need consistency.
Yeah.
They need it.
You know, even though that you may not keep the program going on, but you have to do check-ins.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important that we do check-ins and that we know where they're at. What do they need? Because a lot of our kids are embarrassed to even mention, I don't have clothes to wear. I don't have deodorant. I don't have soap. And they're embarrassed, you know, to even mention that, to talk about it. You know, how do we change that?
Just giving them a safe space. I learned that throughout the years of, you know, just helping kids. Because, you know, I coach as well. So I got female athletes, I got male athletes, just giving them a safe space. And a lot of people are not going to understand you being a safe space because they like, what is you doing?
Yeah.
A lot of people are not going to understand that, just giving them a safe space.
Yeah.
And in order to give, especially a child, a safe space, you have to open up. You have to make them feel safe, make them feel comfortable. We're not friends
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You still got to draw the line. We're not friends, but just being able to get them a safe space where they trust, because they already been disappointed. They already been let down. And I know that coming from where I come from. Like I said, I met my dad when I was 16. You are already at the point where they've been kicked, they've been let down. I got one athlete where, you know, his dad said, I'll take you to, you know, take you to where you got to go. And I had to tell him, like, are you sure he gonna take you? I said, look, how about this? Let's tell Dad, meet us there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna make sure you get there. Tell Dad, meet us there. But Dad never showed up. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain things. That means if Dad never showed up, that means you was gonna never show up. So it's certain, we just gotta be able to get them a safe space. And we gotta understand what a safe space is.
For ourselves,
right.
too. Yeah.
And I was about to say, your safe space is not that child's safe space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got to understand, like, hey, I got to create this aura, this sense of energy where they open up. Because if the kid don't open up, you can't change them.
You've done some work with Ray Rice.
Yes.
And he's been to the school to talk to the children and everything. How did that connection happen?
Through football. We both coach in the same organization. And he came up to me, he was like, man, I love your coaching style. I love what you do for these kids. I feel a passion, and, you know, it just opened up from there. He even, you know, called my son Lil Reese, and he was like, man, I want my son hanging out with your son.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, he just opens up. He opened up. And, you know, that's how that connection happened. Just pretty much being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Doing the right things. You know, everybody get redirected.
Yeah.
Nothing, like I said, nothing is really considered a failure. Everything is a redirection.
Yeah.
So everybody get redirected, and our paths cross, and I feel like me and him have a long future together. So.
You know, I love a good game. And one of my DP, he's going to get the glasses for me that I have. But, you know, I love a good game here on Talking with 3D. And this game, you are sort of familiar with it. So I have a game. I need a spoon also. So you got to get me a spoon. You got to get me a spoon quickly. So you are going to put on these glasses. Yes. And it's everything that you see may be in a different configuration. Now, hold on. So what you're going to do is that you got to open this up. You got to open up. This is a thing of applesauce. So you're going to open the applesauce. You're going to give you a spoon. You're going to have to take out the applesauce, and you're going to have to put it inside this cup.
All right, let's do it.
Okay? You got 30 seconds to get all this done.
Let's do it.
Okay? So do you have the spoon for me? My assistant over here. You got to open it up first. You got your spoon here, your applesauce, and you're going to put it in the cup and go. Come on, Reese. So you got the applesauce. Now you know that don't get cocky over here. Why are you scared to open it?
I can't see it.
Okay, get the cup. That's good. Get the spoon. Get the spoon. He's got to take the spoon. Put the applesauce down now. Okay. Now scoop out the applesauce. Put it inside the cup. Okay. You in the applesauce. Now put it inside the cup. Don't worry about Put it inside. You are way far from the cup. You are not even close. You got it. Oh, here you go. Oh.
Oh man, look.
That's okay. You got it.
Man.
Listen, I want to thank you again so much for stopping by,
definitely
coming on my show, Talking with 3D. You know, again, I just think it's so important because a lot of times we as men, we don't talk about our own stories.
Yeah.
You know, we always feel like, you know, as men, you can't cry. You can't talk about your past. You can't share things with people because, well, what are they going to think of me? And our young kids need to hear this. It needs to be realistic.
Yeah.
And our stories are completely different. I remember we were talking one day and you're like, tell something
something bad that you did that you regretted or something, or something along those lines.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really, because I was like, I grew up as such a goody two shoes. Literally grew up a goody two shoes. And I'm like, I didn't get in trouble, you know. I always had everything that I wanted. I didn't get in trouble. I always, you know, was on time. I always did this. I always did that. So people say you grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth, and a lot of people think I was an only child. I'm not an only child. I'm the middle child, but I grew up like I was the baby of the family.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So you said, you know, you grew up, you was good, everything was everything. What gives you the vision to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes that didn't? Like, what gives you that understanding, I guess? Because a lot of people that grew up not like me, they don't understand certain stuff. What makes you understand? Because in order for you to be a mentor, you got to understand. What makes you understand?
My compassion. And when I see that I didn't have to go through that, you know, I want to understand, why are you going through it? I have 3 adopted children. So I have to have compassion. And I'm always, you know, my oldest son is on the autism spectrum. So just understanding, you know, when I see what they went through, I've always said that I was the person now to interrupt the pattern, because their pattern was supposed to go this way. I was placed in their life to stop the pattern, to interrupt it. So now their lane can go in a different direction. But I had to have compassion. And I think growing up, I always saw what other kids were going through or other kids didn't have. And my compassion made me want to know more and made me understand that side of it. So that's where, you know, growing up, I got that. And my family was a family where they had a lot of foster children, my aunts and uncles. So I saw them, you know, in our homes. So therefore I got it. I understood it, you know, and it just drove me more to wanting to do more for, you know, other kids. So that's where growing up doing that. But thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for coming over. Listen, again, if you don't have a good mentor, you have to go out and find you somebody that you can talk to, boys, girls. Find you a good mentor in life that you can talk to, that you can believe in, because getting things off your chest is the best way of healing. And healing is very important in life. So again, go out, talk to somebody, and know that you are worth it. So I thank you so much for tuning in to Talking with 3D. I'm right here, Talking with 3D Live, every Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's an Iros Film production. Go out, love somebody intentionally. Peace.